Hi guys, welcome back to RTS Share Tea, where respiratory therapists live out loud with me, your host Linda Fry, Thee Asthma Lady. Yes, welcome everyone, welcome to anyone new, and I am excited to say that we are celebrating the 100th episode of the RTS Share Tea Podcast. Yes! Amazing. We did it. What a journey. So today's episode, we are definitely going to revisit, reflect on this milestone. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for being here and joining us today. So I can remember when I decided to start the RTS Share Tea Podcast. I had a presentation. I was on maternity leave during the pandemic time, right? So I had the miracle baby, Logan, and I was sitting on a presentation called How to Be a Happier Respiratory Therapist and Take Control of Your Career. So I just had some slides, and I always told myself if I had the opportunity to do that presentation that I would just go for it, right? So there was a program that was opening the floors to new speakers, and they chose me as a no-name speaker to do this presentation for respiratory therapists during Respiratory Care Week in 2021. So I got the chance to do it, and I said to myself, if I got 60 people to sign in and participate in this webinar in my presentation, then I would consider it a successful turnout. When I tell you my heart was beating so fast because I noticed that I had 840 attendees at my presentation. I couldn't believe it. And the vibe that I got was that there were people that were not happy in their careers. They were going through burnout and just didn't know how to navigate through just everything that was going on with the pandemic. And so the tone, I got great reviews from that presentation in 2021. And that's when I said to myself that I am going to start a podcast. And I don't know, I just came up with the name RTs, stands for Respiratory Therapist, Share Tea, right? So we're sharing. I didn't go for Spill the Tea because I feel like Spill the Tea is more like, a secret. And I feel like sharing is more intentional. So that's why I went for RTs Share Tea. Yes. And I showed my husband the design that I wanted. I think I have it here. Yep, right here. So it was a cup with the stethoscope. And I was just like, I drew it out. I can't draw. And I told my husband, I want to start a podcast. And he was like, okay, where did that come from? And I don't know anything about podcasts. I didn't really watch that many of them. And I did know that during the pandemic, a whole bunch of podcasts came out. And did I forget to mention that I had a whole new baby at that time, so I was still actively breastfeeding while I made the decision to do this podcast, which probably maybe came from the fact that I was going through lack of sleep, and I was just coming up with ideas while breastfeeding. So I say that to say that the podcast was created at a time of complete and utter chaos in my life. I created the podcast while I was going through construction in the home. I was, like I said, actively breastfeeding and just going through a lot of changes at the same time. So it was a challenge in the beginning. What I decided to do was to shoot 3 episodes, at one time, just to give me a good head start. And I didn't know absolutely what I was doing. And my husband, he was like, listen, I think I shot 2 episodes already. And my husband said, why don't you just turn a camera on while you're shooting the podcast? Because that will be more content. You're already doing it. And I was like, absolutely not. I said, absolutely not. Because then I'm like, I would be concerned about the way that I look. And then it's like, I have to consider the outfit, the makeup, and I didn't want to have to do all that. And I just wanted to share good vibes and share information about asthma education and asthma management and as the Asthma Lady. So this was the goal. And I was like, it will be okay for people to just hear my voice. But my husband was making all of the sense because people oftentimes, they want to see who is the face behind the voice. And there's more of a connection with your audience. And so that was probably the best decision that I made. And I have to thank my husband. Thank you, babe. He is part of my team, here. So he helps give me feedback. And so the podcast has been a consistent progress. So it's something that we consistently work on. And here's my husband here now. He wants to come and say hi.
What's up?
So he helps. He's my executive producer, I guess you could say, because he helps me and tells me, what looks good, what doesn't. And but once again, the brand of the show is unpolished. So we basically air pretty much because we said so. We don't air because we're necessarily prepared or ready. It's just because we said we were going to do it, and we will always be there, okay? Except for when I'm on vacation. Thank you, Chris. That's why he is where he is, and that's why I am where I am. So, yeah, so a key moment for the RTS Share Tea podcast was when one of my supporters, suggested that, hey, have you ever thought of having guest co-hosts? And hi, Rodney. And I was like, no, I didn't. And that was the key moment. It was an aha moment for me to start to have guest co-hosts. And yeah, this absolutely changed the vibe of the show. So I have episodes where I am alone speaking on asthma, but then we have other episodes where we have guest co-hosts, and it completely helped out. We have been, for me, what has truly helped is just being a better version of myself. That's all it is. I don't really watch too much other content because I don't want to, I just want my content to be what it's supposed to be. And I just try to continue to be better than yesterday's version of what I put out. And so it has been a learning experience, a huge learning curve. But I've grown through this experience, and it has actually helped me to even be a better public speaker because I can work through just me speaking. So yes, we have had a lot of growth along the way. We have good intentions, and we know that we want to pump out that energy, that positive energy, encourage people in their careers, and just letting them know that we are in it together. So that is the brand, and I feel like people have embraced us in our unpolishedness and and even as we continue to get better, we have learned to just embrace this and to not wait for perfection. And this has really helped me to push content out. And because what I've ultimately realized is that content, especially when it comes to healthcare and awareness around, around healthcare, it does not help when the content is with you and it's just you're constantly working on it. And so what I've learned is that we put out content and just allow it to be what it's supposed to be, imperfection and all. And it works. It does. But we continue to get better. That is the goal. Okay, so just seeing if I missed anything. So I already discussed the importance of embracing imperfections and learning from the mistakes. Okay, so I've learned everything from the different time zones, having guest co-hosts. I told you that was a learning curve, knowing that I am in New York City and other people are not always from New York City. So had to figure that out. So, and just the podcast flow, dealing with equipment failure, wardrobe malfunctions, being tongue-tied, speaking with my hands a lot, having makeup that, being sweaty or makeup that doesn't work with the camera, bad lighting. Oh, we've been through it all. People calling you during your session. Mom and dad want to speak to you and they know what time you record. So, and coming up with the right schedule, right? And also making sure that you don't burn out, making time for yourself and having a system, all part of the journey. But I wouldn't change it. And I'm so glad that I made it to 100 episodes. I can't believe. So looking ahead, I'm just so excited for what's to come. I'm just looking forward to having more guest co-hosts. I would actually love to shoot guest co-hosts, in the same space as within the same shot with me. So hopefully that I can make that happen, and just being closer to the guest co-host and having that vibe in the actual space, that will be great. And we just have plans to continue to grow new topics, getting more questions from DMs and being able to incorporate them, being able to grow more on YouTube, which is, a learning curve for me. But just being able to be on different platforms and continue to grow the podcast. So I'm very, very excited for what's to come in the next 100 episodes, God willing. Very excited about that, and just delivering valuable content to you guys, to the listeners and everyone out there. Okay, so I wrote a closeout, but I cannot remember to save my life. See, that is a part of the imperfections, but I'm going to read it to you guys, what I have wrote. So, as we toast to 100 episodes of the RTS Share Tea Podcast, let's remember the journey of self-improvement is ongoing. So here's to investing in ourselves and embracing the journey, knowing that our only competition is the person we were yesterday. Thank you for joining us on this incredible ride. And here's to many, many, many more episodes of growth, learning, and living out loud together. Cheers. Yes. Yes, guys, thank you so much for being here with us. Remember, we are growing together. We are on most podcast platforms on Wednesdays, and we are on YouTube on Thursdays. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.